It was a dark, blustery evening on the island of Sodor. All the engines were at the station. They were very pleased. The Fat Controller had to close the railway early on account of the weather. The engines were waiting for the signal to return to their sheds. Except for Edward. He was in the works being mended. I hope I can get back to work soon enough. Hey guys, maybe one of us should tell a story to pass the time. The other engines looked pleased with Thomas's idea. I have the perfect story for tonight. Here it goes. Long ago, there was a brave engine called Corey who was always eager to help. Corey? The station master asked one night, would you go to the end of the tracks and pick up a coach that was left behind? Of course, Corey replied. And he set out into the dark, foggy night. But by the time Corey reached the end of the tracks, the fog was so thick he could hardly see anything. He was nervous. I'll just have to wait till morning, said Corey to himself, and he settled into an old shed for the night. Late that night, Corey awoke to a noise coming below the shed. He opened his eyes and saw long fingers reaching for him through the floorboards. There was a monster under the shed. Corey raced out of the shed with the horrible engine-eating monster chasing him through the fog. Then what happened? That's where the story ends. No one ever heard from Corey again. What about the monster? Oh, not to be silly, Percy. It's just a story. What if the story is true? What if the engine-eating monster is out there somewhere right now, Thomas? Stop being such a scaredy cat, Percy. There are no such things as monsters. Later that night, after they had settled into the sheds, the engines were startled by a terrible racket coming from Percy's shed. Gordon! Thomas! Help! There's a monster under my shed! Suddenly, James appeared, roaring with laughter. He had been rattling some scrap metal behind the sheds to frighten Percy. I'm a monster! I'm a monster! Ha 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 ha! Percy was embarrassed for making such a fuss. Oh no, what have I ever done so far? I don't know. It could be more difficult to say so. It's okay, Percy. Sometimes good imaginations bring bad thoughts. Later that night, Thomas woke with a fright. He heard a strange noise. James, cut that out! But James was fast asleep. If it's not James, then maybe I really just have a monster under my shed. And Thomas stayed awake all night, just to be safe. And what about Corey? He had been left in the siding after getting away from the monster, and his whereabouts are just somewhere around. And you can see him in a siding all day, every day. I think it serves him right, don't you?